Welcome, everyone, to the Shelby County Voter Alliance Lunch and Learn. This is a series that we host throughout the year where we invite guests to speak on certain issues that their expertise is on. And we're really excited to have the District Attorney, Steve Mulroy, with us today. We have a few speakers first to talk about the work that we do, and we're really excited to have over 100 people in attendance and some media in the audience. If you have anything that you'd like to share with us, you can use the chat for that. It will go directly to the co-hosts. My name is Bennett Foster. I'm the Executive Director of Votes for All, and we're a partner in the Shelby County Voter Alliance, which is a coalition of labor unions, Greek organizations, community organizations, civic nonprofits, groups that do work to get out the vote and educate voters and inform voters about every election. And we formed our coalition in 2020 to dramatically increase turnout in Shelby County elections and work as a coalition. A lot of the work that each individual group does is amplified and made more powerful by working together and making sure that we're coordinating and aligned on our goals and voter registration efforts. And we've been very successful in doing that. Last year, our organization hosted dozens of poll parties. These are events that are at polling locations to increase turnout and awareness about the elections, keep it in the media, make sure that we're doing our part to inform our neighbors and friends and union members about every election, and make sure that folks know their voting rights and are able to register and participate. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us to do our part with that. We know that, each institution has a role in making sure that our democracy is healthy and thriving. And part of that is just letting voters know that an election is happening and how they can participate. And so we do that, through poll parties, like I mentioned, efforts at high schools and doing voter registration and talking about what's on the ballot. The Shelby County Voter Alliance does voter education courses that we call the Voter Academy, where you can go through and learn about each branch of government, each level of government, elected officials, what their responsibilities are, and how they impact you so that you can make informed choices at the polls and know how you can engage with your elected officials after they're elected to make sure that the policies that you would like to see in government are enacted. And so we work really hard on co-governance and working together with elected officials who are in office so that we can make sure that the policies that they implement reflect the needs and desires of the community. And so we're so proud to have such a big coalition now. You can check out our website at shelbyvoter.org for more information on how you can partner and volunteer. We're going to hear from some of our partners today, and I'm going to pass it to Barbara, who can talk more about the work that one of our most amazing coalition partners has done in the past few years with us. Barbara Beaver, if I can, let's see if you're able to unmute yourself. I just made you a co-host.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Barbara Beaver, and our partner organization with the Shelby County Voter Alliance is Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Beta Epsilon Omega Chapter. Just want to share just a little bit about some of the work that we've done in terms of really focusing on, well, we've been a partner member since 2020. And so just really want to share a little bit about the work that we did last year leading up to the elections and just what we've done with the Shelby County Voter Alliance since then. Last year, one of our biggest events that we held was our Power of '08 Forum, and that is where all the AKA chapters in Memphis came together. And we put on a forum for a couple of reasons. We really wanted to promote the sense of urgency around getting out to vote, especially in midterms election, because we know that the numbers have been so low. So we just felt that, it was just a great need to be able to do that. And we also wanted to be able to educate the community on the issues. And that stems from really what is a part of our national legislative agenda, criminal justice reform. So we knew that we wanted to focus on that as an issue. And as you know, there were a lot of offices up for election on that ballot. So we said, well, how do we drill this down, and what do we need to, how do we really get the most, for our community, and what is it they really needed to know? So that's when we came up with the platform to hear from the specific candidates that were running for the DA's office, mayor's office, juvenile court judge. So we streamlined it down to that. So again, just great information shared, a lot of education. We had over 350 people to register for the event, and pretty much had that number of people to show up as well. And the Shelby County Voter Alliance was right there to support us. They set up on the outside, and they were able to provide precinct information to citizens that were there, because we know that over 70% of the citizens in Shelby County had precinct changes. They just didn't know it. So they were there to support us with that, and also to help us to register anybody that might not have been registered to vote at the forum. So that was a great event for us. We've also been able to partner with the Shelby County Voter Alliance with the Voter Ready open houses. We participated in 2 of those. One was where we shared information with the community in terms of, again, the precinct changes along with the Shelby County Election Commission. So we were set up at St. John Baptist Church and also at Hickory Hill Baptist Church, sharing that information. And also we were able to participate at Mount Zion Baptist Church and set up to do demonstrations in terms of using the new voting machines. So we've been pretty active with the Shelby County Voter Alliance, and just really appreciate the fact that it is a collaboration of partner organizations, and a lot of the groundwork in terms of what our goals are in terms of voter education and voter engagement are really already in place at the Shelby County Voter Alliance. So we're proud partners. We're going to be in this with them for a minute, and we're going to do this until we get just the intention and the urgency around getting people out to vote as much as we can. So thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. It's so wonderful to hear how AKA has, increased turnout and awareness around elections, and we're so grateful to have you as a partner. I'm going to pass it now to Ian Randolph, who is the chair of the Political Action Committee of NAACP, and who are also partners in the Shelby County Voter Alliance. And Ian, you can take it away. Let's unmute you, Ian. Sorry about that. Let me see, just a second here.
All right, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so happy to see all of your beautiful faces here at our Lunch and Learn with the District Attorney. As you know, we do have a new one, District Attorney Mulroy. Before he was District Attorney, if you all have a long memory, he was on the county commission for a long time, and he was a professor, a law professor at the University of Memphis before he became district attorney. I was so excited when he agreed to speak with us today. So we'll jump right in. District Attorney Mulroy, could you tell us, while we know about the district attorney, a lot of us don't know what the district attorney does or is responsible for, or the scope of your office. So as this is a learning opportunity for us, could you enlighten us on your office?
There we go. Now you can hear me. I want to thank you for inviting me, giving me this opportunity to speak. I think the Shelby County Voter Alliance is a great organization that does really good work. Many of you probably know that in addition to criminal law and criminal procedure, election law and voting rights is also an area of expertise and interest in mine. And so the idea of civic engagement, getting people registered, getting people informed about the issues, trying to boost turnout and participation is a cause very near and dear to my heart. I know a lot of you on this call supported me during the campaign, and I very much appreciate all the support you provided. So to answer your question, the district attorney is the chief law enforcement agent in the judicial district. In Tennessee, the judicial district and Shelby County are coterminous. The 30th judicial district is Shelby County. So the chief law enforcement agency in the county, basically charged with making decisions about whether to prosecute and how, vigorously to prosecute every kind of case that would come under state law. So everything that's not federal would be for the district attorney's office to prosecute. We do almost overwhelmingly a criminal docket, although we do have some civil enforcement responsibilities as well. But we make a decision about whether it's misdemeanors or felonies, which cases to bring, which cases to dismiss, whether to charge leniently or harshly, what plea deals to accept and reject, what sentences to recommend, whether to, transfer, whether to petition to transfer those under 18 out of juvenile court into adult court. All of these things are within the purview of the district attorney's office. The DA has extremely broad discretion in these matters. I've said during the campaign that it's the closest thing we have to a king in our system, because that discretion is largely unreviewable. In fact, if the legislature were to try to force a district attorney to bring a certain case or to prosecute a certain case, that would be considered to be a violation of the Constitution and the separation of powers. So that's what the DA does. Once law enforcement brings the case to our office, we take it from there, and we handle all the enforcement discretion decisions about what kind of sentences to bring and cases to bring and that kind of thing.
All right, that was very informative. Thank you for that. One of the questions that was submitted to us was to get an update on the conviction review unit and the justice review unit. So
Right.
Could you give us an update on this?
Sure. So we didn't waste any time. I got into office in September, and by November, I had hired the staff of what I'm calling the Justice Review Unit. And I'm calling it that because we're not just looking at convictions, we're looking at unjust sentences as well. And within 1 month, they got the unit up and running, and we went live on December 1st at a press conference in front of the Civil Rights Museum. And the JRU, as we're calling it, their main job is to go back and look at past cases that our office has handled and to see whether there's been a wrongful conviction or a wrongful sentence. Now, in that latter respect, we're a bit broader and more ambitious than many similar review units around the country. So we're modeling ours on the conviction integrity unit that they have over in Davidson County and have had for years, but we're also focusing on sentences, as I said.
Well, speaking of the unit that's set up in Nashville, how is yours similar or different from that?
Yep. It's similar in that it's staffed similarly with the same overall mission. Our JR unit has a slightly broader mission because it does two things extra. And besides looking for wrongful convictions, it'll also examine wrongful sentences. And also, although this was not originally the mission of the unit, I decided a month or so ago that I would give it one other task. And that was in officer-involved shooting cases and officer-involved fatality cases, the TBI, of course, would do the actual law enforcement investigation. So they would be independent. But when it came time for the prosecution office to decide whether criminal charges should be brought against the involved officers, rather than giving that discretion to the regular staff, as had been the case, from now on, we're sending that duty over to the Justice Review Unit. And here's why. The Justice Review Unit is designed from its inception to be an independent body. They don't do regular cases. They don't work with the rest of the staff. They don't work with law enforcement on a regular basis. They are housed physically separate from the rest of the staff, and they report directly to me and only to me. So that independence was deemed necessary based on best practices around the country that we modeled our JRU on. Because sometimes we're going to be reviewing our office's own work. We're going to see, did the prosecutor screw up? Did the prosecutor commit an ethical violation? And so we want independence and objectivity for that reason. But originally I had said that when it came to officer-involved shootings and officer-involved fatalities, I would ask for an independent prosecutor. That's what I said during the campaign. And for the first two that happened under my watch, I did precisely that. I made application to the Tennessee District Attorney's General Conference, a statewide body, and asked for them to do what we call a pro tem, assigning an independent prosecutor. But there have been so many, sadly, so many officer-involved fatalities in the last few months that I finally decided I needed a different method. And so now we're going to be sending all of those to the JRU.
All right. Another question that came up for us was the transfer of children to
Right.
adult court. So where is your office standing on that? And what are you looking to do to reduce that in the future?
Yeah,
or eliminate it if possible?
right. We're committed to substantially reducing the number of cases in which are transferred from juvenile court to adult court. You know, as I said during the campaign, as I've said since I've taken office, Shelby County is an outlier within the state. We transfer more youths to adult court in Shelby County alone than all other counties in Tennessee combined. 95% of them have been Black, and that has been the case year after year after year, despite the fact that an independent monitor appointed by a federal court in the Department of Justice federal lawsuit against juvenile court found that the way in which we did that was racially discriminatory. Well, we need to stop that, and we're going to stop that under my administration. What I have done since I've taken office is issue an instruction to the entire prosecutorial staff that if they want to, first of all, there's a general presumption against transfer. And if they want to file a notice of petition for transfer, they have to have that approved at the highest level of the office. I've hired Ernest Brooks, who was a longtime city councilman out of Jackson, Tennessee, who for decades practiced in their juvenile court as a defense lawyer. I've hired him to be part of my front office, my senior staff, if you will, and all suggested petitions for a transfer have to be routed through him. And I've already made it clear to him that we're going to have a strong presumption against transfer. I've publicly committed that absent some extraordinary set of circumstances that I can't even imagine right now, there will be no transfers in cases in which the person involved was not directly personally involved in serious violence against somebody else. So in other words, what we've been doing in the past was, you know, 4 kids are riding around in a car. and one of them shoots somebody else. Maybe one of them was holding the gun, maybe the other person was holding the cell phone, another person was just there, watching. Our office in the past would charge everybody as accomplices and petition for transfer for all of them. Well, we're not doing that anymore. We're focusing on the person who actually fired the shot. So I think you're going to see in the months ahead, in the years ahead, a dramatic reduction in the number of adult transfers. And we're also going to be measuring carefully the racial disparities in transfer to see if those racial disparities can go down substantially as well.
All right. Another question that we have, because this is the Shelby County Voter Alliance, what can the district attorney do to help restore voting rights for our citizens that have lost them?
Right.
I know the Shelby County Voter Alliance has been very active in trying to help people get their voting rights back. So that's why we're asking the question.
Absolutely. Something I'm strongly committed to. Like I mentioned earlier, voting rights has been a big part of my background professionally in terms of my writing and scholarship and everything. And it's an area of expertise that I share along with criminal justice reform. Oh, yeah, please, by all means. My communications director, Erica Williams, has arrived, and she'll be sitting in on this with me. In fact, here she is now. Hello. She'll be out of
Hello, everyone.
She'll be out of the shot, but she'll be here. So yeah, I'm strongly committed to that voting rights restoration. I've worked on it in the past. We are doing quarterly expungement clinics that we'll be sponsoring at different locations. And I have made it clear that at all our expungement clinics, we're also going to be doing voting rights restoration work. So people that we're going to advertise it. So people that want to, fines and fees, expungements, job training opportunities, employment opportunities. We're going to have all those programs and services at our clinics. And I've made it clear that I've asked that we do voting rights restoration work at those clinics, and then also have some opportunities for voter registration as well. In fact, let me go ahead and plug the next one, if I could. We've set up we already did one. We've set up our next one for February 8th of this year, in a few weeks, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Greater Imani Church. And if you all want to participate and staff a table to do voter restoration or help with voter registration, all of that, happy to have you come aboard. The contact person in my office is our Community Affairs Assistant District Attorney, Tracy Jones.
All right. Thank you for that. Moving on, the next couple of questions have to do with employers. First of all, a lot of our members, and as you heard from our opening, the Shelby County Voter Alliance is made up of over 50 different organizations,
Right.
501c3s, nonprofits, and a lot of unions. So one of the questions that came up was around wage theft. And does the DA have any authority, or can they do anything about wage theft? And second, in Alabama, there was a child labor law violation. And is your office able to conduct any sort of review of local labor law violations and wage theft?
Yeah. I'm going to have to confess, I'm not as up on the child labor law stuff. I know that's primarily a federal responsibility, but if there's a way that we can get involved as well, that's something I'm definitely interested in. But I can tell you that I have explored the idea of worker exploitation issues. And it's something that I talked about during the campaign, and I've talked about since I've taken office. If you recall, I used to be on the county commission, and at the time I sponsored a wage theft ordinance because I recognized that wage theft was rampant in Shelby County and that the people who were most vulnerable were the victims of it. And I recognized what a problem it was. I mean, not only did wage theft and job misclassification harmed the workers themselves, but it also harmed the government, and that it robbed the government of required contributions into unemployment insurance and workers' compensations and things like that. And it also, was harmful to the legitimate law-abiding employers who were at an unfair competitive disadvantage because they were treating their workers right. Everybody who works a full day deserves a full day's pay, and I'm committed to that. So what we've done is we are in the process of revamping our economic crimes unit. In the past, DAs were not considered to be the kinds of offices that would deal with worker exploitation issues. A few DAs around the country have started to do that, and I'm joining them. So our economic crimes unit, which had in the past mostly just focused on, basically prosecuting people of limited means for writing bad checks, we're going to be revamping it and stepping it up. I'm adding staff to it so that we can go after worker exploitation. So that means misclassifying people as independent contractors when they're really employees entitled to benefits. And it also means traditional wage theft. And Ian, your question was, is there anything that we can do about it? I think so, because there's really nothing to say that those things are not legitimate instances of fraud and theft. And just as somebody who, a shoplifter who rips off a large corporation, that's theft and that's fraud. Well, this is theft and fraud just as well. As a matter of fact, we just recently got contacted by a Harvard law professor who specializes in this area of the law, and she advises now DA offices around the country about how to prosecute these kinds of cases. And we've set up a series of meetings with her. She's going to be consulting with us as the best way to go forward and really start a robust worker exploitation prosecution.
All right, thank you for updating us on that. Excuse me. While we aren't taking any questions from the audience, would you like to speak to any of the current events that are going on in the city right now in regards to the district attorney's office or the police?
No.
All right, thank you for
I'm
that.
joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. No. I just wanted to see how you'd react if I said that. So there's limits to what I can say, right? Because these are ongoing investigations and ongoing cases. So there's real danger in me speaking too much as the case unfolds. But let me deal first with the tragic injuries suffered by somebody that I've known for years, Mark Coleman. The defendant's name is Wesley Caldwell, and that was the incident that took place on the golf course in which Mr. Coleman was struck on the head with a golf club and is still in the hospital right now in serious condition. I'm glad to say that his condition, though serious, has been improving of late, and I know we're all praying for him. I met with their family just yesterday, and I explained to them that we're continuing to look at the case. The initial charges that were made on very limited information that law enforcement provided to someone in our office, where we had not had a chance to get the full facts, and we had not had a chance to explore the full criminal history of the defendant. We're now aware of criminal history in Mississippi. So we're actively involving that case. We're not going to be making any decisions until we get all of the information from law enforcement. But without saying for sure what we're going to do, obviously the charges that started don't have to be the charges that end up. We reassess charges all the time as new information comes through. And I'm just asking everybody involved to be patient and let the process work its way out. We just had a court hearing yesterday, but it was simply a report date. We're resetting the case for a preliminary hearing on the matter as soon as possible. With respect to the Tyree Nichols case, I called the TBI in because I thought in this instance we needed an independent investigation. The TBI investigation is underway. I can't tell you too much about the details of that investigation. I know there's been a lot of public concern about whether we can release any video that may exist about the incident. And I'll tell you this, I'm in favor of transparency. I'm in favor of releasing video in such cases as soon as possible, subject to two qualifications. A, we have to do it legally, and B, we have to do it in a way that doesn't compromise the investigation. I don't think there are many people on this call right now who would favor doing something which might interfere with the investigation and ultimately create a situation in which any party that was responsible did not escape accountability because of something that was done prematurely or precipitously. I can tell you that when it comes to an officer-involved shooting, there is a statute that specifically gives district attorney's office discretion to release the video, even if the TBI investigation is not yet complete. But this is not an officer-involved shooting. And the default law provides that any part of the investigative file of TBI can't be released until the TBI investigation is complete, which sometimes can take months. I am committed to releasing the video as soon as possible, quite possibly before the TBI investigation is completed. But I need to make sure that we do it in a way that is A, legal and consistent with the statutes governing the release of the video. And B, I want to make sure that we don't do it prematurely in a way that would compromise the ongoing investigation. So again, I'm asking people to be patient. I'm committed to transparency, and we're going to try to, release what information we can as soon as we can.
All right, thank you for that update. The next question that I have is around bail, and it's really kind of a double-edged thing. Number one, we recognize the amount of poverty that's here in Memphis.
Right.
And sometimes bail is an obstacle for people. And that leads to the jails being overcrowded because they can't meet the bail to get out. The other side of that is, well, when the bail is set so low, then sometimes criminals pay the bail, get out, and offend again. So how is your office planning to deal with the issue of bail or cash bail?
Yeah, we're going to implement expeditiously and in good faith the new standing bail order that was agreed to by the General Sessions judges a couple of months back. If you'll recall, the ACLU and Just City together sent a letter to the county saying that they were thinking of suing because our bail system did not comply with the Constitution in order to comply with the bail statute in Tennessee. And as a result of that, to avoid and forestall litigation, the county agreed to a settlement, kind of a pre-litigation settlement, and it resulted in a standing bail order from the General Sessions judges. We, over the last week and a half, have been attending, when I say me and my staff, attending the training sessions on the new bail order that the county has sponsored. We'll be ready on February 15th, which is the date that this is supposed to take place. When February 15th comes, our office will be ready to implement it. In fact, we're hiring ADAs specifically for that purpose. And to just give you a quick preview, what the standing bail order provides is that after someone has been arrested, within 72 hours, they will get a prompt bail hearing in front of a judicial commissioner who we just recently appointed 4 new judicial commissioners precisely for this role. And pretrial services will get detailed information about the particular finances of each individual defendant. What are their assets? What is their income? What is it? And then they will use a calculator provided by the Vera Institute, which is the preeminent national criminal justice reform organization in the country. They're going to use the Vera calculator to calculate what would be an affordable bail for that particular defendant, taking into account that defendant's individualized financial circumstances. That's never been done in Shelby County before. And then the judicial commissioner will have the choice of either releasing them on their own recognizance or setting bail that is an affordable bail. If the judge is going to set an unaffordable bail, which basically means holding them pending trial, that can only be done if our office proves by clear and convincing evidence that that is necessary. It's the least restrictive means to secure the defendant's appearance and protect public safety. In other words, we'll need to prove by clear and convincing evidence that that particular defendant is either a danger to public safety and shouldn't be re-released, or is a flight risk. Now, Ian, you mentioned the pro and the con of all of this. There are going to be false positives and false negatives in any system. No system is going to be perfect. We already know about the false positives. We know about how Shelby County is an outlier in Tennessee for the number of people who languish behind bars at 201 Poplar, waiting for trial, never been convicted of a crime for 18 months or longer, solely because they can't afford cash bail. We know how it disproportionately burdens people of limited means. We know how the longer you are there, the more likely you are to be Black. So there's significant racial disparities. And we also know that a significant percentage of those people will ultimately be released without a conviction, meaning they're innocent. But by then it's too late. We've ruined their lives by interrupting their education, their job, their family life, their communities for 10 months, 18 months, sometimes years. We know about the false positives. There are also going to be false negatives, right? Under any system, including the one that's going to be implemented on February 15th, inevitably there will be some people who will be released because based on their criminal history and the facts of the case and all the information, it appeared that they weren't a flight risk or they weren't a danger to the community, and they may reoffend, maybe even violently, or they may flee the jurisdiction and escape accountability. No system is going to be perfect. We're going to have false positives and false negatives. But although I didn't have any part in negotiating this bail order, I support it because I think the false positive side of the equation will be reduced significantly. There will be a lot fewer people who really shouldn't be behind bars and are only there because they can't afford cash bail. Will there be some false negatives? Yeah. Will there be some people that we didn't catch who end up reoffending or fleeing the jurisdiction? Yes, but that was true. That's been true under the current system. And my hope is that the next time that happens, the media will take into account the false positives and false negatives of our system.
All right. Thank you, sir. Another question that we have is what is the office doing to address the the criminal backlog in the courts?
Yeah, so there's a limited amount of stuff that we on the DA's office can unilaterally do to address the backlog. To a large extent, that is going to be something that the judges are going to have to handle. And I think there's room for us to work on that and get more trials going to clear the backlog. From our end, here's what I'm doing. I have returned discretion to the regular prosecutors, to the assistant district attorneys, more discretion than they had in the past to settle cases. Even if sometimes, the victims aren't completely satisfied with that, if in the ADA's discretion, based on the facts and the circumstances, settling the case is the appropriate thing to do, I am returning that discretion to them. And I think that will help with the backlog. Another thing that I'm doing, and this is a little bit in the weeds here, this is a little bit of inside baseball stuff. I won't bore you with the details, but we are changing the way that cases are distributed among the different units of our prosecutorial staff, who are each assigned a particular court, so as to facilitate a more even distribution of cases among the different general sessions and criminal court divisions. Right now, the most serious cases are all being shipped to two particular divisions of criminal court under a system called the Special Prosecution Unit. I'm getting rid of that. And I'm saying that cases will be assigned among our prosecutors, and I hope also among the courts, just on an even basis. Everyone gets the same kind of distribution of cases. There's no special treatment. And it is my hope that that will facilitate addressing the backlog as well. But at the end of the day, like I said, there's only so much that we can do on our side, but what we can do, we are doing, and I just outlined what that was.
All right. Seems like we are running exactly on time with our run of show, as it is 12:45. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to do a closeout.
Oh, well, I'll just say this. I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. I am serious about my commitment to civic education, voter engagement, voter registration, voter participation, voter rights restoration. And so, if there's things that I can do going forward, you know how to reach me. I'd love to continue the dialogue with your organization. I think establishing a partnership to do that kind of civic engagement is a great idea. And I look forward to working with you all in the future.
Well, thank you. We will be in touch with your office, in particular, I believe you said Tracy Jones.
Yeah.
To work with you all on doing the expungement clinics. We participated in the past with the clerk's office, but to work with your office would be wonderful as well.
Absolutely. And I think criminal court clerk Heidi Kuhn has done a great job with the expungement clinics. We're just going to try to follow in her footsteps and do our own so that we can, broaden the opportunities for people. Let 1,000 flowers bloom, supplement what she's doing, and we'll get as much service to the community as possible, because Lord knows there's plenty of business out there for us.
Yes. Well, that does it for this particular segment. We have about 10 minutes left, and I'm going to turn it over to Tequila Rucker to close us out. She's going to talk a little bit more about the Shelby County Voter Alliance, and we are always accepting new partners and volunteers. So Tequila,
if it's okay,
show is yours. Yes, sir.
Get back to work, but thank you all so much.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Tequila is yours. Hello, where's Tequila?
Hi, everybody. I'm here. I was saying unmute me. Hi, everybody. My name is Tequila Rucker. I'm with Memphis for All, and we are partners with the Shelby County Voter Alliance. The Shelby County Voter Alliance mission is to build power by working with Shelby County organizations to dramatically increase voter access, engagement, and turnout using data-driven strategies and civic education. We would like to thank District Attorney Mulroy, which I know we have, and he's gone. So thank him for sharing his time and knowledge with us on today. It is our hope that everyone is able to walk away more informed of what this office does. As Ian stated, we encourage and invite everyone to get involved. There's a link in the chat. You can get involved as an individual, or you can become a partner of the Shelby County Voter Alliance. And so we would like to just encourage you to take this information back to your organizations just to see if this is something that you would like to be a part of. Again, thank you all for attending on today. Early voting is taking place for the special election. The last day for early voting is on tomorrow, January the 19th, and the election day is January the 24th. So I would like to encourage you all, if you haven't voted, please get out and vote. And if you have, please tell 3 people about the voting election that's taking place right now. So thank you all for attending. Our next Lunch and Learn we will have another special guest in March. And I would also like to say, be on the lookout for the Voter Academy that's coming soon with sections 201. So thank you again for attending today. Back to you, Ian.
All right. Well, with that said, it looks like we can wrap up about 10 minutes early. So I will give you that 10 minutes of your day back. Thank you for attending this Lunch and Learn, and I hope you join us again in March for our next one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.